Oh my God. I sat with it and it changed my life. It changed my life. And it wasn't just the medicine or that night. It was everything afterwards. It took me to a very lonely spot in my life. I went in my childhood bedroom and I'm looking at myself through the window, like who is this person? And I look and it's me. And I just started speaking and saying, you're beautiful. You are worthy. You are amazing and you're capable of doing amazing things. And I just kept saying that. And I was actually looking at myself, and from me seeing those words, I changed. I felt the change in my heart. And it was almost like our souls were hugging. It was a change like this is your starting point. You're doing this so that you can be loved because you feel like if you solve everybody else's problems, then you're going to be loved. And guess what? It's at the expense of you. Okay, boom, lesson learned. All right, now I'm working on things to love myself. But one thing that I tell myself when I'm feeling like low and I know that love will heal it, what can you do to fill your cup? Because that's where it's at. It's loving yourself first. Put on that oxygen mask for yourself first. Yeah, one thing that I noticed with my mindset, of course, it was the awareness. I I know how I feel. I know where I want to be. That's when everything starts changing because I went from thinking, "Oh, this is or not even this is the way that I am," but not even seeing the work that needed to be done and thinking that everything was okay and just hiding from it almost. You know what I mean? Like delusional. But then it's really hard to be delusional when the freaking curtains are lifted.
Hello and welcome back to my podcast, Ayahuasca Avatars. And today I'm super happy to be here with Tony, who is like a dear friend of mine. And also we work together. He helped me actually with this podcast that you are listening to take it to the next level, which I'm very grateful for. And yeah, we're just like very much on the same wavelengths. We both work with the Mother Ayahuasca. So yeah, I'm just like super stoked to have you here and learn a little bit about your journey. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on. I really, really enjoy spending time with you, and I'm glad that we get some of these really good conversations about this good medicine recorded.
Yes, yes, me too. Yeah, we normally, start with how did you come to plant medicine? What happened in your life? How did you hear about it? What was your calling, we say, to the medicine? And yeah, what happened then?
Yeah, I would say, and I'll go back I'll go back a bit when as far as I can remember, I've always had anxiety. I've always been a really anxious kid, and I would never forget this. When I came back from the Marine Corps, my sister took me to get me some medicine. Uh, and Western medicine, uh, they give you, Tylenol. They give you, and then if you got like anxiety or depression or something, Zoloft, and the list goes on and on. So I would say, probably the past 25 years, I've gone on and off some sort of anxiety medication where what happened a few years ago, my family was impacted. We had some very unfortunate circumstances, and I found myself just again, feeling very anxious. And I had been one of those people that, as part of my practice, right, is to help other people with anxiety, right? So I'm just like, I'm doing all the things that I teach other people how to do, and having I'm just I realized that this is bigger than me, right? Make a long story short, is much bigger than me, and I found myself feeling very depressed, and I got into this depressive state. I was still working, I was still speaking, I was still showing up, I was still smiling, but something was missing. And all of a sudden, I started getting these books. about plant medicine. People started sending me documentaries and books and different, lectures. We were talking about it in class and all of these different things. And it was just like, it really felt like it was calling me, really felt like it was calling me. And then, it ended up finding somebody that was a practitioner. There was a shaman, and not in like the way that you think a shaman would be, but somebody that worked with the medicine. And oh my God, I sat with it and it changed my life. It changed my life, and it wasn't just the the medicine or that night. It was everything afterwards. It was everything afterwards. It was, you know, my eating habits, my sleeping habits, um, the things that I consume in my brain. It was, I felt meditation through it. I mean, everything just changed, but not like for the better. I'm a different person, or this is where I'm at. Like right now, it was just like I was cracked open, and it showed me the way that I need to go, at least a couple steps ahead. But yeah, ever since I've been on this journey, it's just, oh my God, it's been beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that. I think, a lot of people can relate to having anxiety, depression. I had super strong anxiety disorder most of my life, which I don't have anymore. But yeah, I know how that feels. And I mean, even just living in this world, that gives you anxiety, you know.
Mhm.
Not if we don't even have to talk about, trauma and stuff, but yeah, like let's break it down a little bit into the nitty-gritty because people are like, okay, so what happened? How did that change happen? Like, what did you see? What did like can you bring
Mm.
some examples, like, okay, how is this go, unfolding, right? In the ceremony and as you said, after.
Yeah. So in, the way that it happened, traditional setting, you have your intentions going into the ceremony. Usually it's something that you need to work on, something that you want to see. There's people that are addicted to certain things. Maybe they want to change that, but there usually there's some change that you want to see come to fruition in your life. And when, of course, other people, they see this as being, maybe it's just like something recreational, or is it something that people do for fun. And I want to be very clear, like there's nothing fun about this process. It's like one of the most grueling processes that I've ever went through. And I remember at one point, saying like, is this really healing? Because that's how hard it is. So you have to be willing to really do the hard work. And that's where I was at. I was feeling very, uh, very low. So that's why I did it. But of course, you take the medicine, have your intention, you lay down, and it's meditation, it's music, depending on where you're at. And for me, it was singing the Icarus, and my mind just started to wander. I had this vision of me, maybe whenever I would do it, I would be in the skies and see my loved ones, and I just have these like this this imagination, or this hoping that my imagination would just take me for this magical ride, which it didn't. It took me to a very lonely, a very lonely spot in my life. I went in my childhood bedroom, and it was like I was floating. It was almost like you know, Christmas Eve, when they have like the three ghosts, but it was just me. And I'm, looking at myself through the window, and I go a little further and I go, like, who is this person? And I look and it's me. I was cute too. I was such a cute kid. That's what I said in my head. I'm like, oh my God, you're such a cute kid. And it was almost like the words didn't come from me, but the words came and I just started speaking and saying, you're beautiful, you are worthy, you are amazing, and you're capable of doing amazing things. And I just kept saying that over and over and over. And in my head, I was there, right? Nobody can change, nobody can tell me that this did not happen. I was actually looking at myself, and from me seeing those words, I changed. I can see the change in that kid that I was looking at, and I felt the change in my heart. And he turned around, he looked at me, and it was almost like our souls were hugging. And then I came back, and I came to, and everybody was it's like, "What was that about? What were you doing in there?" And I told him, and they're just like, "Oh, that's just so beautiful." But man, I felt, I felt it, but it wasn't like a change like you're better right now. It was a change like this is your starting point. These are the things that you need to do, because those affirmations that you were giving yourself was what you needed to hear. And it was my job, and it's been my job the past 4 years for me to figure out why.
Wow, wow, this is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, so much to say. Well, what you're describing is what we call in therapy reparenting the inner child. Right.
Mm,
It's that, a lot of the trauma happens in childhood, and then we feel abandoned, we feel sad, we feel lonely, we feel afraid, whatever. And, when we are children, oftentimes it's too much to bear. So we kind of push that part of us away so we can survive, we can go on. And then this, causes problems, in adulthood, and a big part of healing. And it's not just with plant medicine in general, but especially with ayahuasca, as you say, I had many times similar experiences, is to go back and rescue yourself. So,
yeah,
to reconnect with that part who was like fragmented and left there in the past, and to bring him, with you to the present moment, and to reassure, to give that part what was not given at that moment, what couldn't be given. And that's what you did exactly. You affirmed, you praised, you loved, you embraced, that part of you. And that's what healing is, right?
yeah,
Because healing is really what we are talking about here, is self-love, is love, and starting with self, loving ourselves, accepting. So collecting, these parts of us and bringing it back to our heart, to our love, and with love and compassion and awareness and witnessing, and I see you and I love you and I'm here for you. That's what healing is, and that's what, the medicine had. This is such an amazing experience. Like oftentimes, people don't have this kind of complete story in the medicine ceremony. It's just like lots of times it's fragmented. This happened, that happened. I don't understand. What is it about? Yours is like a beautiful little story,
it felt fragmented then, though.
was
it
okay.
it felt fragmented. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like I really was hoping that I would be able to come out of there fixed. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying this to you now, like, yeah, I realized that it was my journey to figure out why. But that came from like months and months of trying to figure out, how come I didn't come out of there with the bow tie. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think, we always say, I always say to my clients, don't have expectations. This is just the beginning of your journey. As you said, it's step one. It's not over yet. It is a process, blah, blah, blah. But we all expect, to be fixed, and that's why we are going, and some fairy with the magic wand will hit you and everything will be perfect.
Hmm.
And I think, part of it is the culture in Western societies, this like this quick fixes, that is the promise, right? Of
Hmm.
just take a pill, just do this, and just do this course for 2 weeks, and now you're an expert. Now you can learn this. It's like we are conditioned to believe that there is a quick fix, there is some kind of magic pill that I can take, or something that I can sign up for and learn in 2 days, and I'm gonna be perfectly, knowledgeable and all of that. And it's not true. It's a deception. It's a marketing psychology,
Mm-hmm.
that unfortunately we absorbed, right? And then we have to learn through our own experience that it doesn't work like that. Because if it would be that easy, everybody would just go to an ayahuasca ceremony and would be happy-go-lucky and abundant and successful and all of that. If that would be an easy way to do,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like that. So I'm super stoked, to talk about this with you, about this self-love, because that's what I like. That's my motto actually on my email. Is like it says, healing is an act of self-love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Healing is caring about yourself so much that I want to feel better. I want to have a better quality of life, that I'm willing to do deep work, hard work, grueling work, as you said, in order to get there, because I love myself so much.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think love is the key, but then how do you translate that? So I would love to know, the unfolding after the first ceremony. And I know that you've been to, other ceremonies since then. What does it mean to you to, okay, apply this self-love? How does that look like? How I'm going to put that into practice? You talked about diet, different things, like let's give people, some examples of how does that look like, when we start loving ourselves, for real.
Yeah. So I one of the first things that I think about is the relationship that we have with ourselves. I realize that a lot of situations I was putting myself in, maybe it benefited other people, but it's not benefiting me. And then I also had to look at, why are you putting yourself in these situations? Is it what are you trying to achieve? Like you're trying to get them to love you, so you're willing to keep emptying yourself to make other people full, right? And I started like really thinking about that. I started marinating on. I started looking at some of the friendships, the relate friendships and relationships that I had, especially when things weren't too good. Who are those people that you give your gift to, but then when it's time for uh, you to get, and when because we're humans, we need love, we need support from the people that are in our lives. Because and if it don't go back and forth, then what's the point of them being in your life? So it's me cutting out those people. It's me cutting out that desire to be loved from other people, because now I'm working on things to love myself. And one of the biggest gifts that I got from plant medicine when it comes to me loving myself was the gift of meditation. It was one of those things. I'll never forget this. It was at my very first retreat, and this late. I was telling my story, and I was saying the things that was going on with my health, and I there's a chance that I can have MS. I'm having this stuff go on with my brain. I was at this moment, this period of time, this, a few years ago, I was falling off my bike. There was days that I couldn't walk. I mean, it was really hard. And I had never experienced this before in my life. I mean, I would go on stage to give a speech. I would get off the stage and I would 100% totally forget everything that I said when I was on stage. That's how bad it was. So I was explaining this to this person, and I'm just wallowing in my self pity. And this lady, she looks at me and she goes, "Well, you need to make sure you never stop moving. And not only that, like you got to make sure that you don't give up. And what not giving up means is you meditating." And I'm looking and I'm just like, who the hell is this lady? Like, you need to make sure that you're meditating. You got to meditate, Tony. And just like, okay, whatever, I'll meditate. So I go home, and she sends me a whole thing of meditations, thousands and thousands of dollars of meditations. And I've been meditating ever since. And one thing that I got from the meditations was something that I had never, I can't remember the first time before meditation where I felt like this, where I felt like I didn't need to be playing a video game because I played video games when I was a kid. I didn't need to be watching TV. I didn't need to be stimulated. I realized what I needed to be was just to be me and to be still. And that was the most beautiful gift that I could have ever received from that medicine was the gift of being able to be still. And if you're like me, that's been hard. I mean, ever since YouTube came out, I've always been listening to something in the background. I've always listened to Audible, listened to books. There's always been music in the background. But it helped me be able to just say, it's okay with just being still. I love it. Like even now, like when I just stop talking, that pause, it's okay with it. It's peaceful.
Absolutely. Thank you. Wow. So many good gems that you shared with us. I loved what you said that often we empty ourselves to make other people full, and I think
Mhm.
this is absolutely, in therapy, we call this self-sacrifice, and that's one of the three patterns that we need to uproot, self-sacrifice, self-sabotage, self-punishment, because we are all good at that, right, in some shape and form, and we do it without knowing, right, without
Right.
noticing. Like, I'm sure before you never wondered about these things, and suddenly you have this new awareness, and suddenly you are reflecting on it, and suddenly you're asking these good questions. Is this serving me? Do I really want to do this? Is this gives me joy? Does this person drain my energy? What's happening here? Before, we don't think about it. We are more like on an automatic pilot, day in, day out, right? And
Hmm.
think one of the gifts of the medicine is this really expanding our awareness. So suddenly we have this new awareness, and we have these questions arising, and we are pondering upon things, we are contemplating things, right? And that's the beginning of change, because if you don't even ask the question, is this good for me? Is there another way? That
Mm.
you're just going to keep repeating the same old, and I'm sure that everybody can relate to that. So this is wonderful. That's what means that, like, the medicine open our eyes a little bit. Hey, look how you live, look who you associate with, look how you
Mm.
spend your days. And before, you did that, but you didn't even think about it, and now suddenly you're thinking about it, and you're like, okay, maybe I don't like it so much, right? Now that
Mm.
I'm thinking about it, maybe I want something different. And that's the very beginning, that I always say, to my clients, that awareness is the first step, to have awareness.
Mm.
Because without that, you just repeat, repeat, repeat. But once you have the awareness, then is the real work comes, is like act upon the awareness, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you have the awareness, okay, this person is like an energy vampire or whatever, right? It really drains me. I don't like him. I'm just feel obligated to keep up this relationship, or I have some kind of expectations that I want, to fulfill by doing this, right? And often people find it hard to let go of behavior, people, places, even though they know it's not good for them. There's
Yeah.
a weird part of us who's like, no, I want to hang on. It hurts, but I'm hanging on. I want to keep it. So, when you started to put this into practice, and to make these changes, to make different choices, right? Because that's what it comes down to. You have to change things and act differently. You
Yeah.
like, how was that experience for you? Was it easy? Was it difficult? What helped you to actually do that? What kind of support did you have apart from yourself and the meditation and the inner resources? Like, how did that look like?
Yeah. You mean as far as like making that change?
Yeah, exactly. Cutting people out,
Yeah,
TV out, cutting certain foods out, cutting, okay, I'm not gonna go to these places anymore because I don't like it, and now people are expecting you to do the same things and you are like, I'm not showing up anymore, and that sometimes causes conflicts within family, within friendships, is like, you are rocking the boat because now you are
yeah,
doing things differently and that kind of upsets other people in a way.
yeah. No, big time. You're asking me some questions. I can tell that this is what you do, and I love this. I never ever get the opportunity to really talk about the medicine like this. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. Um, but I I remember feeling sick, almost like when I would get into situations like that, where let's say I would get, let's say, bing, I get a message, and it's a text message, and it's a customer, or not even a customer, somebody that has been reaching out to me ever since like 2021 for little snippets of, uh, hey, pick your brainer, but they just want to pick your brain to death. I would literally get nauseated. And I'm not trying to be funny or facetious, but I would get nauseated. And I'm just like, what's wrong with me? Because before I didn't have a problem with it because I felt like I felt like I was giving them a good service. And I felt like this is what I'm supposed to be doing as an entrepreneur. But then all of a sudden I'm just like, okay, why am I getting these pains when this is happening? And I started digging deep to it. Oh, no, you're doing it again. You're doing this so that you can be loved because you feel like if you solve everybody else's problems, then you're going to be loved. And guess what? It's at the expense of you. Okay, boom, lesson learned. All right. And then I'll do it again. And then I'll do it again. And then I'm just like, okay, how do I stop doing it again? Almost kind of like a madman. Okay. How do I stop doing this? And then it's like, okay, journal. Boom. Somebody said you need to start journaling. I just kind of picked that up. Okay, boom. All right, pick up the journal, start writing in it. Oh, okay. I'm actually writing down the, okay, when I do XYZ, it makes me feel like this. Okay, don't do this again. All right, cool. Let me continue this practice. Okay, I feel good about that. And then other situations will come around and I would have to go through the same process and not always like feeling a pain, but just having a feeling of this is not right for me. And knowing, okay, I'm being taken advantage of, or knowing, okay, you're making yourself be taken advantage of, or you this is not going to benefit you like whatsoever. And it could be my own actions. If I'm doom scrolling on Facebook, right? Okay, is this adding value to my life, or is this, or or maybe it's not. But I have been getting them signs from long ago. There were migraines. If I look at a freaking screen too long, I get a migraine. So guess what? I don't get migraines that much no more. I really don't. Right. And then when I get it, it's like, okay, why am I getting a migraine? But it's it's just little things like that. It wasn't like, oh my God, it's magic. It just magically just kind of oozed out of me and magically just oozed out of my body. It wasn't like that at all. It was trial and error. It was failing. It was feeling really bad. It was reaching out to some of my friends and talking to them, you know, throughout this journey, asking you questions. I have other friends that work in integration as well, and asking them questions, because if you're a fool and you go about this medicine like a fool and just think that you're just gonna it's all up to you, then you're wrong, right? It's all about the community and you really taking action and you really digging deep and you really wanting to get to back to what you were talking about before, asking those questions. There's so many people that will reach out to me and they'll tell me everything. I want to change this. I want to change that. This is not so good in my life. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then like, what are you talking about? This is amazing. I'm like, well, at least you know that you need to change this. Can you imagine all the people that are walking around this earth right now that have no idea, that have no clue, that have no clue or no idea? I said I clue, but no clue or no idea on what direction that they should go. There's not many. But that's what this medicine has done for me. And yeah, and I don't know. And oftentimes I think, if I would have, felt the way that I feel right now without it, is there a bigger spiritual pull that would have pulled me someplace else? I feel like it because it's not just one thing. It's all things.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. All road leads to the same places. Yeah, to the same place. For sure, for sure. I think this is kind of like a shortcut a little bit, the ayahuasca, if you are willing to put in the work, if you have that commitment, if you have the support and everything, it kind of speeds things up because as you said, that's what happened to me that I had the awareness. I was still stuck in old behavior, but not for long because I couldn't do it anymore. I
Yeah.
was just unable, as you said, you get a headache, you get a nausea, you are like your physical body wisdom is like, hello, hello, not good, not good. You're doing it,
Hmm.
and it's getting harder and harder to maintain that old behavior, that limiting behavior, that toxic behavior, that whatever that is not serving you is getting harder and harder to do that. And I feel that the desire in us is grows and grows every day that I don't want to do this anymore. I
Hmm.
want something different. I want something different, please, and then of course trying, and as you said, it's so wonderful, trial and error, and sometimes we fail and we fell back and I did it again, oops, I did it again.
Uh-huh.
But this is how it goes. This is not the hey, now I did it once, I mastered it. I'm like a master now. It's all is good. I'm never committing the same mistake again. It does take a time to establish a new behavior. Yeah, and we go
Yeah.
a bit back and forth, right? And I feel that sometimes people can get discouraged in this process if as you said, if they don't have the support, if don't have somebody to call when you are down, when you failed, when you went back, like, and somebody to cheerlead you, is like, it's okay, you're good, you're such a, amazing person, look how far you've already come, don't give up, we need that because sometimes it can be discouraging. Sometimes you feel, oh, I put so much work, I'm aware, but I want something and I'm still here. Why is this happening? And we sink into that, victimhood, that self-pity, which is also the old pattern
Yep.
in a different way. And then we all caught up. And so, but what I want to talk a little bit more about, because, love is all of, everything is about love, right? This
Mm.
fear of looking for love in all the wrong places, because I think that's such a common thread of our journey, of all the people I know with the medicine who are dedicated to this path. It's called, my book called Heart Medicine, because I always say you are the healer and love is the medicine, not ayahuasca. Love is the medicine. Ayahuasca will give you awareness to recognize
Hmm.
truth, that that's the most important thing. And it starts with yourself, because a lot of people interpret love, oh, I have to love others, I have to accept them, I have to be compassionate to them, and that's good, but you cannot do that if you don't love yourself. You
Right.
it's just going to be another obligation that you think I should do, but you don't want to do. You want to punch them in the face sometimes. Like, and so it's like, but once you start to love and accept yourself and embrace yourself and pick yourself up over and over again. And, okay, okay, very good. Let's try it again, and just really nurture and love yourself. Then I feel you automatically relate like that to other people because
Hmm.
you understand it's hard, you understand they suffer, we all suffer. You have this natural compassion. It's not something you have to do, you have to do with willpower. It's something that naturally arises because you lived it, you did it, you did it with yourself. And I think that this idea is that love is out there, right? It's like, I mean, the whole economy is based on that. Buy this cream, buy this clothes, have that house, and then you're gonna have love. Then people are gonna love you because you look a certain way, you have certain things, you have status, you are famous now, whatever. I mean, I wonder, if we would ask famous people how really loved they feel, like not many feel loved, like, I mean, a lot
Yeah.
of famous people kill themselves. You know,
Yeah.
people are wondering why did this person kill themselves? They are like filthy rich, they are famous, like what's it? Somebody can feel so alone, so unloved, even though they have all these things that we think would give us the love. This is just like such a like um like a wrong trajectory. And then
Yeah.
I feel the whole society and media conditions you to try to get it this way. There is not one advertisement about, hey, love is inside of you, do some self-discovery, do
You
some
don't see that.
healing. No, did nobody there is no advertising this. There is no famous
No.
people telling this, or books or whatever. That then we discover, like, I mean, I remember myself when I discovered this through the medicine, that everything is I'm looking for is inside of me,
It's inside of you.
telling me over and over again through ceremony after ceremony, it's inside of you. Everything is inside of you. Your answers are inside of you. The love is inside of you. Like, and we're like, wow, how is it? Like, it changed completely the trajectory of my life because I was searching and seeking outside in spiritual traditions, yoga, reading all the books, as you said, everything I could read, all the trainings I could go to, all the ascended people, kind of, the gurus that I could study with. And I still didn't, I was totally disconnected from myself,
Yeah.
until it hit me, and the medicine was like a couple of times, okay, let's repeat this again,
Yeah. And
Here,
it's been in you the whole time. It's been inside of you
yeah, just
the whole
think,
time.
thinking. So let's talk about this, like, what you want to say to people, people who are listening to this episode and who are looking for love, and all that thing that comes with love, the acceptance, the belonging, the acknowledgement, like what would be what do you want to share?
Yeah. One thing that I learned, and I don't want to come off like somebody that has this all figured out. That part. I mean, but one thing that I tell myself when I'm feeling the that like low, and I know that love will heal it, and you have that yearning for love. I don't seek it outside, because if I did that, I mean, I would be a horrible human being. I would be a horrible husband, a horrible dad, a horrible business owner, because then I'm just taken, right? And you see that a lot. People that are just taken. I feel like they really just want to be loved. And the way to start that is on the inside, right? Um, Stressful day. You did this, you did that, you've worked your butt off. Don't go start like working more and doing other things. How about work on you? So that's the question that I would ask the person that's listening to this, watching this, like, what can you do right now to work on you from the inside? Is it riding a bike? Is it going for a walk? Is it um, lifting weights? Is it meditation? What can you do to fill your cup? And that's where I go with that. I always, but you know, I don't always do that. I don't always do that. If I'm feeling empty and somebody reaches out to me and I have to like have reminders for myself. Hey, where are you at? And as you say that right now, I want to like write on a sticky note someplace here in my office where before you pick up that phone, where are you at? Because that's where it's at. It's loving yourself first. Put on that oxygen mask for yourself first. Because you never know. You're the person you're trying to save and put the oxygen mask on. You're freaking dying and you need that oxygen. You're putting the mask on them. Maybe they don't want it. Maybe they in their head they think it's poison. But you're dying because you're trying to put that mask on them. But
Totally.
it just don't make sense. Put it on yourself so that you can have the oxygen that you need to support the other person.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
that's that's such a good example. Actually, I use that with my clients because you know what's going on. At least that's what I figured from working with people for so long, is that people are conditioned to believe that if you prioritize yourself, you're selfish. That's self
mm,
putting yourself first is selfish. But and selfish is bad, right? Selfish
mm.
is bad, it's anti-spiritual, it's anti-God, you should be selfless service, like blah blah blah. So that's no good. Nobody wants to be selfish,
Yeah,
right?
but then when you die, people look at you and they look at you die from diabetes, die from heart attack, die from whatever way too early. They look down and they say, "Oh man, he should have took better care of himself."
Totally, but I just want to clarify the phrase because it's a misinterpretation of language. Because what selfish means is that you only care about yourself and you don't care about other people. That's what
Yeah,
selfish is. And if you are like that, that's no good. If you are listening, okay, then you should definitely do some working on yourself. So that's no good. Now, the other end of the scale, the other extreme is self-sacrifice, right?
mm,
Which is the opposite. I don't care about myself. I don't exist. It's all about others. I put everybody else's needs in front of my own needs, right? So
mm,
that's now, from my perspective, we all need to go towards the golden middle. We have to find balance.
yeah,
The golden middle, which is what you said. I do care about others, but if I don't put the mask first, I'm gonna die and I'm not gonna be able to help anybody else. I have to put the mask first, and then I can help other people. It's I call it self-full instead of selfish because that it's
oh, I
confusing
like
for
that.
people and they have such a negative connotation to that word. Self-full is understanding with your awareness that you need to fill your cup first so you have something to give. You cannot give from an empty cup. You cannot. Then you just gonna be resentful and hate other people. And I'm sure you know people who just give, and just like complain all the time and about others and how ungrateful they are and they look what I did for you and this is how you're repaying. Like those kind of people, that's not real giving.
Yeah,
That's not real giving. That's self-sacrifice. That's nothing to do with service. That's nothing to do with giving. You cannot give what you do not have. You
right.
have to fill yourself first so you and more even so you have extra
Hmm.
and give and then you can give out of love with not expecting anything in return because you don't need it because you have. And that's what healthy. And I feel that even religion with the sacrifice and Jesus, and I'm not anti-religion, but this dogma that Jesus, the Son of God, sacrificed himself on the cross for your sins, and you should sacrifice. It's cemented, burnt into the psyche of the collective human psyche, and that keeps people in a very unhealthy behavior of this sacrifice that you are constantly talking about, just giving beyond my means, beyond my health, beyond not we cannot do that because we're gonna break down, right? We're gonna completely just burn out and die. Get
Right.
that's what the end is gonna be, right? So how can that's I think that's a very good way what you said. How can people take the first step towards that self-love is what can I do today to fill my cup?
Yeah.
What do I need? I need 10 minutes rest. I need to close my eyes. I need to have silence. I need to go out to nature. I need a glass of water, whatever that may be, right? And then start honoring that, right? Just
Yeah.
a little, just start giving yourself that and knowing that this is okay and you deserve and this is healthy, and this is not selfish at all. And then you need to work on that mindset.
Yeah.
We are programmed to think in a certain way, and you need to change that because your thinking brought you here. So, and that's my next question, that how did your mindset and perspective change due to these experiences, due to this work that you did with the medicine? Is there any way that you can describe to us or bring an example how, because, we create our reality with our mind and we have filters on, right? And we're looking through certain glasses and we need to change those. So what is your experience about that?
Yeah. One thing that I noticed with my mindset, of course, it was the awareness. I I know how I feel. I know where I want to be. And then there's that period of actually doing it, right? And actually doing the work so that you can get to where you want to be, and having the knowledge and the wherewithal to continue to do it. That's when everything starts changing, because I went from thinking, well, this is, or not even this is the way that I am, but not even seeing the work that needed to be done, and thinking that everything was okay, and just hiding from it almost. You know what I mean? Like delusional. But then it's really hard to be delusional when the freaking curtains are lifted and you see the light. It's hard not to see the sun when it's hot and it's gleaming at you. So it's just taking those steps, and taking the walk that you need to take, and falling in love with those things. The things that used to give me anxiety no longer give me anxiety. I worked on it. My mind got hardened to and softened to a lot of things. I used to have a fear of public speaking. What helped me with that fear of speaking in public? Speaking on podcasts, speaking boards on at work, saying the things that I cared about on social media, or whether it was small or large groups, but continuing to do it. That was the mindset of not giving up. This is something that I really care about. So what am I going to do about it? And am I going to continue to do it even when it gets hard, even when it gets rough? It's making that commitment. And you'll start to notice that in that walk, things will start shutting off, and it'll start being a lot easier. There's some folks where, they turn to they turn to this medicine because they have an addiction to alcohol, addiction to drugs. They notice that every step is a little bit easier because you've taken the steps, and you turn around and you're like, oh, damn, look how freaking far I've made it. That inspires that I would think that would inspire anybody to take another day. If at before you were only, going 2 or 3 days without it, but now you've gone a month, you've gone a year, you've gone 10 years. It's not easy, but it's easier. And you have the mindset of not quitting. It's the same thing with everything else. Like when we get off this call, I've had a pretty busy day, um, and I'm not gonna pretend like my life is perfect because it's not. I had a stressful day today. Okay. In between the stress, what do I do? Okay, I know my old habits. I know my old patterns. That's to sit here and that's to ruminate. That's to think about all the things that I could have did different. Think about, blaming myself. That was one big thing that I would always do. I'd always blame myself when things would go wrong, despite of, who caused it or what happened. It's always my fault. But no, now I'm like, let's look at the facts. Were you operating with love and intent? What can you do right now physically to get yourself from feeling that way? Okay, go for a walk. If that didn't work, meditate, right? And I keep going. And that's my mindset. Sometimes it don't work like that, but it's a practice. It's like everything else is a practice. You're not practicing for perfection. You're practicing for the hope that you'll be able to implement it the next time something happens and it works. But you just keep fighting. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. So well
Yeah.
said. And I see you wear your usual t-shirt Inspire.
No, it's getting old on me. I started wearing this as a almost as a message to myself because I it wasn't like a gimmick or anything like that. It was like I was depressed
Mm.
and it was a message. Imagine a motivational speaker being depressed. It was the message. It was okay. I have a mentor that says it's all about the inside, and I would just tell myself, okay. And if I would see it, it's good, But yeah, thank you.
What inspires you nowadays? What are you feeling passionate about?
I am insanely passionate about this next chapter in my life. Um, I have really been pouring into the leaders that I'm working with, and they all have like different goals, different dreams, but there's always something that has them like hung up or something that they're stuck with. And I've just been really passionate in helping them see that the sky is clear. There's a little debris out there, but it's clear, and cheering them on and helping them with their voice. That really gives me inspiration when I see people do incredible things like yourself. I'm always like, oh, I love that. And like I'm really passionate. I'll see stuff and I'll just cry because because just to see people live in their dreams, see people operating in their truth, stepping from beyond doubt into actually doing it. That's what I'm passionate about. And yeah, and just to continue to see it going. That gives me so much inspiration.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Is there anything you would like to share about your work or people who would like to connect with you?
Yeah, if you want to connect with me, you could go check out my podcast. It's Leaders Lead Podcast. We're on all the major networks. We talk about not just leadership as far as like leading people. It's more about the leader within instead of the leader without. And I talk to industry experts that they're doing some really cool things. And I always see people they're at the top of their game, the people that are giving autographs and stuff. And I always wonder, I wonder what kind of obstacles that they've had to go over or
Mm.
go through. And I bring them on the show and we dissect it. And my hope is that it'll inspire other people so that it's not like, oh, look at this really cool person or, look at, oh my God, I bet you they had it easy. It's like, nope, they didn't have it easy. Here's their story. And here's some tools that you can use so that you can get through whatever storm or trial that you have. So yeah, check out the podcast, and if you want to reach out to me, like I said, I'm really passionate about helping people with their voice. I've been helping with speaking, helping people build podcasts. That's like my favorite right now is help with podcasts is something that I'm passionate about. It is the right now, I think it's the medium that is absolutely taken over. And and yeah. And even if you just want to say hi, yeah, reach out to me. I love it.
Yes, yes, we're gonna share all your contact information. And yeah, I had the pleasure to do your to have your support with, building my podcast to the next level. And that is something that, is still cooking. So watch out for
Heck yeah.
interesting turn that is gonna come soon. But
I
until
love it.
yeah, if you want to work with me, and do some ayahuasca assisted therapy and have some awareness around, what you need to change in your life and get some support with doing that, then you reach out to me obviously on avatarhealingarts.com. And thank you so much, Tony, for coming on and having this wonderful conversation. I'm sure that it's not the last one that we are doing here. So thank you for coming and lots of love to you.
Back at you. And for the people that are listening and watching this, do me a huge favor. Like this podcast is amazing, and I know that it's changing so many lives, and I know that there's a lot of people that listen to the podcast. But leave Nina a review. I want to test something. Ask her, not ask her, tell her how much of an impact that she's making in your life. And I'm gonna follow and do the same. I'm gonna leave a review, and I want you to do it with me because this show is awesome. It is amazing. I love what you're doing, Nina. Is definitely impactful. So thanks for what you're doing too, because it's definitely making a difference in my life, and I know it's making a difference in the lives of other people as well.
Yeah, that's an absolute pleasure, and that's something I am also passionate about sharing this way. So thank you for that lovely feedback, and for our audience, lots of love to you everywhere in the world, and stay tuned for the next episode.